Greetings, Roots Wedding House family. At last, we have live connection. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we have a great show in store for you today. I have with us, about to join us from the Black Food Sovereignty Group. Shayna, if you could just link up from the Black Food Sovereignty Group. Let's see. Okay, bear with me one moment. Now, I don't have control of the show. Shayna, can you link up the Black Food Sovereignty Group?
Okay.
Versus Anan Laloli.
I sent
And
the
I'm
invite.
yeah, to Anan Laloli or Black Food Sovereignty Group, because they're they're doing it from BFS.
Okay, I'll send it to them.
Okay, Irie. Yes, man. So let's get back with the show. I'm going to just give you a little bit of insight of the guests that we have today. I'm going to start reading and share with you about Anan Laloli. Anan Laloli is a food sovereignty and food justice advocate, musician, and vegan for 46 years. Anan is one of the founders of the African Food Basket, a nonprofit food justice and food sovereignty organization that began in 1996. Welcome, Anan.
Well,
Welcome.
I give thanks to the Almighty for being here with you tonight. And I give thanks
Yes.
to my sisters because their shoulder I am standing on. But before I start, I like to give thanks. I like to wish to acknowledge the land on which the African Food Basket operates in Toronto on, and our responsibility through our work to steward it well. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, the Ashnabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat people, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit. Toronto is also the home of people of African descent. These communities are a reflection of the generations current and past and represent the ancestral history of those brought to this city and country involuntarily as a result of transatlantic slave trade. This territory consists of ceded land covered under Toronto Treaty 13 of the Upper Canada Land Surrenders and the Williams Treaties, as well as unceded land that continues to be contested. My dear sister, Roots Reggae Hub, I am honored to be here to talk to you tonight about Black food sovereignty. So, I know this is live and direct, and I also want to share the knowledge that people could learn about Black food sovereignty. And to ensure that, I will be having a conversation tonight with Roots Reggae Hub. So, Sister Sharon, I'm not seeing you on the screen. I just hope.
It looks like Sharon dropped out, but I'm going to send her an invite to come back.
Okay, so that means I'm the DJ for the time?
Yes, you hold the show for now.
Okay, so people, I am so honored to be here with you on Roots Reggae Hub, because you know, I have a tradition of being in reggae music with this famous reggae band called Truths and Rights, and I'm still around, you know, loving roots reggae music. But tonight, me and my sister Sharon, we want to talk about food sovereignty. And I like to make sure that the audience who is listening know about food sovereignty. And to know about what's happening, I would like you folks to come out on November the 19th, where we will be exploring exemplary Black food justice movements from around the world to celebrate the work of renowned Black food sovereignty advocates. It can be from Ghana, the motherland. It can be for our neighbor, from the African American community, and also it can be from right here in Canada. So on the 19th, I would like you folks to come through. And here is Sister Sharon again to get
Greetings.
Yes. So,
Technical difficulties, but we're here.
we're here, you know, we're here.
Let's start the work.
They can't stop this ride, you know. Yeah.
Yes.
So I did my introduction, and I know
okay.
I know you got some questions to ask, and so you are the host, you know.
Let's roll. Let's roll. Give thanks. Give thanks. It's just a pleasure being here. You're quite the inspiration. I really want to read the bio, but for those of you who have tuned in and listeners, viewers, you got to check out Black Food Sovereignty just to learn more about this brother. As much as he's introduced himself, it's an honor to be in your presence.
Oh, well, okay, you putting some weight on my shoulder that I hope I could pull up that weight, but this,
You don't
I'm
know.
representing
Stop it.
I'm representing Black Food Sovereignty Toronto, but I give thanks for the bless up, and I like to say, I know there's Sarna Farms, there's the Bashir Mounier, there's Flemo Farm who joined. Man, I'm loving to see all these farmers joining in because, Sister Sharon is a farmer too,
Yes, I
with
am. Seed to
pumpkin
table.
and
That's
it's
what's
sweet.
up.
That's right. And also, she does some real nice Jamaican pumpkins and callaloo, and if you want some
Done
cane juice, you
know.
can get it too.
Sugar cane juice. You don't know. Truth spoken in poetry. You don't know. Thanks for the
Yes.
big up at
Yeah.
Seed to Table Organics. And it's funny because I was inspired. My name of my company was inspired by your wisdom and knowledge and the conferences that I've attended. It's been amazing, and that coined phrase of seed to table or roots to table, or
Mhm.
and I got the name, so I give thanks.
Good.
Um, that
But
guidance
if,
and
if, 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 if I may say something about seed to table,
yes.
you see, the seed
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most important things in the universe. Without the
Yeah.
seed, we are nothing. We are like the moon. We are a planet, an empty planet. So
Mm-hmm.
that name is a very important name.
It
Okay.
is. It is.
That, that,
And it's
that
funny
name,
because when I started planting, I would eat strawberries, take out the little seeds and put it in a pot, and they grow. you know.
nice.
So it go. Give their
Yes.
thanks. But let's get into the show now to really talk about this activity that's been going on. And I want to know, what is Black food sovereignty for our listeners and viewers, and why is it necessary? Why is
Okay.
Black food sovereignty necessary?
I like to break it down. Let's break it down. The two words, black,
Mhm.
three words, Black food sovereignty. Black. Now, to tell the truth, honestly, I'm here in Montreal, and I just
Yes.
returned from Villarreal, was it? Um, Victoriaville in Quebec, where there was a
Okay.
conference, there was a food security conference. Okay.
Excellent.
And I was making a presentation on Black food sovereignty for the 300,000 people who live in Quebec. I was speaking to them directly, but they weren't in the audience, but we're speaking about them. And
Right.
I used the word black. And a good sister of mine from Africa said, Anand, I understand the idea about black, but when you say people of African descent, that's more appropriate. So we use the word black to signify people of African descent. I just want people to get this, because some people don't like it because black is only a color, and we're not a color. We're
And it's a
people.
status too, so you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel that we have to leave those language still, but
yeah, but
I'm First Nation. I'm a First Nation. There can only be one First Nation.
well, I'm
Yes, I knew that.
right. I'm going to dispute that. But
You
listen,
see?
let's stay to the point. Black food
Go on with it.
Black really represent Mother Africa and her children. Okay,
Mhm.
and the food is our sustenance.
Yes.
Without food, we're nothing.
Hmm.
Let it be a microorganism. Every living organism have to have food. Every human have to have food. And then sovereignty now. Sovereignty
Hmm.
sovereignty speaks to the rule of people and people managing themselves, their countries. Okay, a sovereign nation. You ever hear about
Yeah.
Britain, the sovereign nation of Britain? You heard
Hmm.
about Britain, right?
Oh, yes.
These
Hmm.
these people who went around the world and said Britain rule from sunrise to sunset. That's colonization.
Sovereign.
So they took sovereignty over a lot of places. But in Africa,
Mm.
you know, you'll find a lot of sovereign nations. In the Caribbean, you can find sovereign nations too. Okay? So sovereignty tends to relate to the people who rule over a particular area. Okay? So it's a sovereign territory or a sovereign issue. So when we talk about Black food sovereignty,
Issue.
we're talking about the right of people, the healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods, and their right to define their own food and agricultural system. Basically, this is a concept that came from a group called La Via Campesina. These were some peasant farmers. This is where it evolved from in southern Mexico. But
Okay.
the idea of sovereignty is only,
Mhm.
as I said before, it's just how where we put the word in relation. It could be seed sovereignty. Okay, so sovereignty basically speaks to the right of,
Yes.
of people. Okay, to
Mhm.
particular areas or particular things. So when we talk about Black food sovereignty, now we talk about food sovereignty, Black food sovereignty, the right the people of African descent to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods, and the right to define their own food and agricultural system. So there's a general understanding of what food sovereignty is, and then there's
Mhm.
the intentional focus of food sovereignty, Black food sovereignty, in relation to people of African descent, wherever we are in the world. So I like to say this: food
Mhm.
sovereignty, Black food sovereignty, African food sovereignty is not new to us as people of African descent, because you know, before colonization, food sovereign. Before we engage with anyone, whether it be Arab, European, Chinese, South Asian, we were food sovereign. We in this state
Mhm. Absolutely.
right now because of colonization. We always fed ourselves. We always had agricultural system. Going to talk about irrigation, we developed that in Egypt. Okay, when you go in, because a lot of people don't even know Egypt in Africa. A lot of people think Egypt is somewhere in Egypt is Africa. But
Ooh, in
who the
Africa.
Egypt now? Okay, so we have this system, not only in Egypt, in many other parts of Africa, because even in Sudan, you can find um, pyramids and all that kind of stuff. So we've been feeding ourselves for a long time. You know why? Because we have the Nile, we have the Congo River. You know what I mean? We doing this irrigation thing. We were growing rice even before they were growing rice in Asia. You know, I
Mhm.
know some guys. I know some black rice, some brown rice, who the sisters, when they were enslaved, put rice in their braids and bring it to the so-called New World. Now, the New
Look
World,
at that.
the New World is a colonized term, because there's no New World and Old World. It is a New World for Europe, but not for the indigenous people who they come and find it. When
That's right.
Christopher Columbus come, he said it's a New World, and he find pyramids, and you know, he find people. And so
Mhm.
anyway, but let's get away from this sovereignty. Black food sovereignty, that's what it represents. The people
Okay.
of African descent defining the agricultural system.
Defining that. Yes, yes, yes. So, and as I saw someone commented, this is so necessary. And it's, and we want to get a little deeper into why is it necessary. Like in 2020, when African Food Basket, they played an integral role in filling that void of Black food insecurity in Toronto. If you could tell our listeners and viewers about that experience and what you discovered during that time, like it was real.
You're speaking, but just as COVID start,
Yeah, 2020.
2020. Okay.
Mm.
Well, we've been organizing around, intensely around Black food sovereignty from 2018, but really and truly, our work with Black Food Sovereignty started in 1995 when we wanted to see
That's
how
right.
African descent could have food at a more affordable price, because we as people of African descent, whether from the continent or the diaspora, the most expensive food. You see how much for you think you could go and buy Jamaican sweet potato? It's $3 and $4 a pound. And you could
I
get
know, but you eat in moderacy.
you could go and get a version for 150 a pound. And then you're gonna buy yam, you buy Ghana yam. Oh my, the price is high. So
I
we realized our community was eating the most expensive food, but we had the lowest income. So we started this
Right.
club to make sure that we could pack the food with volunteers. Basically, we were looking at ways to make sure the food more affordable for our community. Fast forward to COVID-19.
Right.
COVID in 2020, COVID-19.
2020. I don't even mention the C name. Remember that. I didn't even play with that name. I just say 2020. I just keep it simple.
Okay.
You know?
Now,
Yeah, man.
we, we,
What did you
we,
discover?
realized, we realized because of the crisis of COVID and, shutdown, we decided
Yes,
to
lockdown.
make sure we resurrect the food buying club. And we were able to distribute over 1 million pounds of food in our community from
Wow. Respect.
now. And we purchased food for wholesale. We got a lot of donations from folks in the community and also funds from the government. And we've been doing it and we're still doing that. And I have to give props to Zakaya Tafari, who initiated the idea and has have it up and running and just doing it and he's doing it well.
Respect, Zakaya. Respect. And he's one of the members of Black Food Sovereignty as well, right?
Yeah, but he's the executive director of the African Food Basket in Africa, and the
As
Black
well.
Food Sovereignty, the Black Food Sovereignty Toronto is now a program of the African Food Basket. But this conversation on Saturday is moving towards it being an independent institution. All folks of African descent to come and help us to make the decisions, especially the specific stakeholders. People like Chef Bashir, farmers like Sharon Farm, I always forget his name. You gotta forgive me, I'm government age. But all the Black farmers around Toronto and Greater Toronto area, we want them to come and help us to make the decision on how we should run and establish this Black Food Sovereignty Alliance. So
Yes.
it's about rebuilding the leadership and taking charge of our food system.
Yes. Now with Black Food Sovereignty Working Group, I even love the name that you guys put in the detail of working group. Over the next 10 years, how can you start to like build the farming community? What are some things that you'd like to see over the next 10 years?
To me, as you know, I've give thanks that I have the opportunity to manage 2 urban farms. One site where they have the Black Creek Community Farm. Before that, this is the second version of farming at that site. It was the Black Creek Urban Farm that was established by my mentor, Solomon Boye of the City of Toronto Community Garden Program. I want people to know the real history, okay? Situation where it wasn't represented enough. The institution wasn't represented, and then there was Rob Ford, and he said something about gravy train and cutting programs, and the program up at the farm, okay, because it didn't have the proper representation, and there was a next call out for proposal for groups to manage the farm, and there's this second version of the Black Creek Community Farm. But I've been managing an acre at that site and also 2 acres in Brampton at the McVie Farm. So what I realized is that we need resources because the development of farming in Ontario farmers get resources, from the 1920s when European farmers came over here for the first time. This is not the first wave of Europeans who come, but in the 1920s, they get support from the government. Now, we have a wave of farmers from the Caribbean, farmers from Africa, and farmers from South America who are interested in support. We want to make sure that we could be in touch with the governments, because we're talking about sovereignty. We want them to know we need our resource too. So farmers need resources to make sure they have the right infrastructure and they have all the necessary resources to make sure that we could have productive and income earning farmers. But I think very important, what we need is what we call learning farms. We need land. But in the learning farms, it's supposed to be institutions that could really teach us the new technology in farming, to farm smart, so we can have resources. So we need to learn to farm more. We need farming institutions like Learning Farm. We need farmland so we can have incubator farms and overall general resources of infrastructure, whether it be hoop houses or whether it be greenhouses. You know what I mean? We need the necessary infrastructure in farming.
And when you say that, we need the necessary, go ahead.
I mean, it's not just farming alone.
Yeah.
We need incubator kitchens. So we can have people like Chef Bashir run these kitchens and give knowledge to members of our community. So we could take these same products that we farming, whether it be callaloo, or whether it be pumpkin, or whether it be garlic and onion, and turn them into products that will be sold, and also make sure the young people know about farming, cooking. Okay, so we need resources across the board, not just for farmers. We need resources for nutritionists, like my sister and Abena and all these other sisters who involved in nutrition work. Sorry, go ahead.
No, when you had mentioned about the resources, I mean, as a novice farmer, this was something that I was blindsided with and humbled by the need for tools. I literally was using my straddle hoe to till land sometimes in some remote area. I really had needed a lot of guidance. Sometimes I would give you a call, but it is really a lot of resources, listeners, viewers, of resources that are required to operate that. So it's key to achieving the goals of Black food sovereignty is actually getting those resources.
Yes.
It's critical.
And I can tell you, my sister, a lot of money coming in our community, and I'm glad, but we're not seeing that large amount. I see several organizations, millions of dollars. Now, in our community, we have chronic food insecurity, okay? A third of our community is food insecure. And even worse, 36.6% of Black children are food insecure. That is right in any country. And we live in one of the richest countries in the world, and we have our children going to school in the morning without proper breakfast. And in the time, they're going to bed without any proper dinner. Now, you know what is the ramifications of that? We're talking about mental health. We're talking about we're talking many diseases that would follow them through their life. Okay, you're talking about intentional genocide. If you have all the money, you're doing that. Because listen, this COVID. You see how much money come out to look after the situation of COVID? That money could come out and remedy food insecurity in Black children just like that. So it takes us as a community. When I say us, I'm speaking specifically more so for the stakeholders, like chefs, farmers, nutritionists, academics, government workers who are involved in this food system work. They need to come out and let's have a conversation, see if we can come up with a remedy or come up with solutions for our community so that we could be more food secure. That's why we're talking about food sovereignty.
And it goes right back to acquiring, getting access to land, access to those resources. I've even for me as a novice farmer, when I went to my accountant, I'm his first agro I needed, you know, there's in order to do agro, you have to net 7,000, and I'm his first agro farming accounting. So this business farm, I see like, you know, farm business planning as something as it's critical so that we know, you know, what it entails when we know the expenses, the equipment, the tools, the supplies that you know what I mean, that you have to replenish. This is real good. And then again, in the food security, you have, you know, it's being getting that access to the healthy nutritious food. It's not because people could be rich and they could be food insecure too because of the choices of food that they make. And
That's
we
right.
want to make sure that we have, you know, all these stakeholders, whether it be, as he was saying, like the nutritionists, engage in with the community, funded to be able to even consult the community and so that they can know what food is available. And, you know, this is really good. Let's
Before
see
you
what,
go, Sharon, you talk
yes,
about resources.
yes. Let's
I
go
saw,
back to them.
I was within the last 2 years, 3 years, we have been building relationships with the city of Toronto, and I would say October the 1st should be a day that we should celebrate as people of African descent, because that was the day the city council approved the first Black food sovereignty plan. That this is historic around the world. There's no
Respect.
give thanks. There's no municipality in the world, especially in the developed world, so-called developed, because some people say developed, some people say overdeveloped. Okay, because I won't go there, but this is historic. It comes to prove the Canada's first Black food family plan for Toronto to respond to the needs for immediate and comprehensive action to address the problems of food insecurity experienced by many Black Torontonians. And I like to put this extra, especially our Black children. This is not good. So the city council says the partnership we have with them is that they will develop a 5-year plan that is community-led. And I want you to listen carefully. It's community-led. You know what I mean? It means by it's being led, this plan is being led by the community, the African Canadian community, the people of African descent who lives in Canada.
Yes.
And it's to be municipally supported. It's a municipally supported initiative. That means we have the support of the city of Toronto. Okay?
Respect.
And it's
Respect.
supported by interdivisional team working towards achieving 3 primary objectives. Now, this speaks really to what we need on the basic level, and we're going to build on this. First, develop city-supported, Black-led initiatives dedicated to addressing food insecurities issues that disproportionately in Black communities. Now, supported by addressing food insecurity issues that disproportionately impact Black communities. Black-led initiatives like Your Farm, like Sarna Farm, like Bashir Monye, like Abenan or ancestral foods like Idle, you know what I mean? The real people who are doing the real food, the real projects and real initiatives, they're supposed to get the support. We say now we got to hold the city accountable for these recommendations. Next, identify and establish sustained supports and funding for Black-led, Black-serving, and Black-mandated food organizations and Black food sovereignty community infrastructure. For instance, the African food basket for years, we wanted to get access to a warehouse. The reason why we say access because a lot of groups get access at reasonable
Absolutely.
prices. We've been around
Absolutely.
struggling for 27 years. We need to have that. So we need
Oh,
to have
yes.
the urban farms. Like I can see that farm at Dungsville
Yes.
Farm. I don't
Yes.
see a reason why the Black community with over 400,000 people of African descent in Toronto don't have access like that. We are lobbying to have access similar to that farm. Okay?
Right.
Because we need something just like that so we could educate, okay, our farmers and it's supposed to be institutional site. That's what's called
Yeah.
infrastructure. So I hope the city is listening. That's what we need. We need similar, and on that side, we want to have our kitchens, okay? So we can have principals, and I'm calling his name again, like Bashir Mounier, to run that stuff, okay? So we could get the necessary knowledge in culinary discipline, okay? So one more thing. So set 3 objectives. I code 2. The last one is to engage and align and leverage new and existing city strategies and initiatives that advance system change and share goals to realize Black food sovereignty. Now, existing city strategies like the food strategy, okay? And these many different strategies that look at health and nutrition. Don't get me talking about the children nutrition program in school, food nutrition program, because that personally for me is very important, because Black
Yes.
children need to be fed healthy food. They don't want to go to bed eating pop and Coca-Cola and Smarties and all the junk food. As you said before, they need healthy foods, the most healthy foods. I said it last night in Quebec, I said it here.
Well, it would reduce the violence even. Like it's
Definitely.
the processed sugars really impacts most people that commit criminal activity when they see their diet. It's a poor diet prior to any criminal activity. So hey,
That's what it
this
is.
we
That's what it is. Because
sustainable health.
and it starts from early. So what we're doing, we're cultivating criminality, because we didn't get in, there are connections between criminal behavior and food. It's just that we got we do research
Absolutely,
to show. You know, that's why
absolutely.
we need healthy foods, and that is
Not
why.
to have wellness.
And not cut your sister Sharon, and that is
No, go
why.
on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, 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 go on. No, no, no. And I'm not.
That is why the community conversation that's going to be hosted on Saturday, November the 19th, 2022 from 12 to 4 p.m. And that's this
Yes.
Saturday. We want our community to come out so we could talk about this food, how we can manage this Black food sovereignty plan, and how we can manage an institution that's going to be a legacy for the people of African descent in Canada. Because, you know, I know a lot of people around Canada don't like when I say this, but Toronto is the center of the Black universe in Canada. This I might get myself in trouble, but this is what it is. This is where we have the Afrofest and the Caribana and this and that. You know, we have it going. No disrespect to where I'm right now. I'm in Montreal, so I better hush my mouth, because there's 300,000 people in this province. And to tell you the truth, Sister Sharon, I just
Yeah,
come back from a beautiful experience talking
yeah,
about Black government in this community in Montreal, in Quebec.
yeah.
And the brothers and sisters, they were ready to get their Black food sovereignty plan and their Black food sovereignty movement going. So on on Saturday, we have a terrific lineup. We're featuring speakers from across the globe.
Yes.
We have my sister, Dr. Jasmine Ratcliffe, co-executive director of the National Black Food and Justice Alliance. That's a terrific institution. My brother Emmanuel Meles, the executive director of the Network for the Advancement of Black Communities. I'm going to say that again. Is the Network for the Advancement of Black Communities. And Kweku Adu Bafur is the communication director at Community Ghana. They're doing some terrific work. They just get an award, an international award for food sovereignty from the U.S. Food Sovereignty Alliance. A round of
Respect.
applause for the
Respect.
work of Kweku Adu and his folk in Ghana. This
Yeah.
day will also feature special presentations from Sakaya Tafara and my good sister, the executive director of the African Food Basket, and Nicole Austin, Black student coordinator at Harvest Collective, Learning Circle at the Toronto Metropolitan University Urban Farm. This program, these two programs, is Black food sovereignty initiatives in practice, in full swing.
In
Okay,
practice.
and Janelle Scarrett, the phenomenal, the excellent, the most, the wise sister will come with a deep understanding of what it means to be an inclusive leader. She will be doing the libation. And
Okay.
the event will be hosted by the hostess of the mostest, my sister Aita Sadu, who always come with the
I
right,
just do.
the
Yes.
dynamic poet, author, community advocate, and will feature a performance from the young and upcoming poet Kareem Bennett, a Toronto-based poet, songwriter, and recording artist. But most importantly, you know who's the most important people to this event? The people who are going to attend this event, especially
Yes.
Toronto
Yes.
stakeholders like Ubuntu Farms, Sarna Farms, Sundance Farms, from Seed to Table, and I could go on and on, Deeper Roots. I hope I don't forget people and get myself in trouble, but all
Yes.
the Black food stakeholders in Toronto and the GTA. And also we can hear from people from across Canada. We're not leaving out, you know, the Quebecois, the folks from Nova Scotia, British Columbia, and, you know, our family. You know, the African Americans, we one brothers and sisters. People think border, we ain't got no border. We Pan-African, we one people.
Some
For me,
Northwest Territories.
without no question. And
Yes.
even people from Africa are gonna be tuning in because I know
Absolutely.
the food sovereignty Ghana has been promoting it. So it can be a good time for us to sit down together and talk about food sovereignty. So make sure you
And
get,
I have,
yeah.
I,
Good,
and
good. Sorry, go ahead.
for our listeners, I have attended these conferences, and it's been a pleasure. It's like it's well organized. I'm not. Oh, I mean, it's well attended in terms of who's on panel, who's facilitating. However, it's you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna be your belly, your mind, your everything is just gonna be filled. These you guys are just awesome. I'm looking forward. And if you're our listeners, if you could just let them know how to, register, where to register, if they want to get involved in the Black farming community for people who are interested or who already have the skill in farming, how can they get involved or register for this weekend's conference?
Okay. I to register for this weekend's conference, you could go to Black Food Sovereignty Toronto. That's the website. That our website, Black Food Sovereignty Toronto, and they will have a red page. They will have a registration. You can click on the link to register.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And when is it? What is the time that it's running for tomorrow?
It's running from
On Saturday, right?
it's on Saturday, November the 19th, this Saturday, from 12 to 4 p.m.
Okay.
And our focus on this day would be how to build the Black Food Sovereignty Alliance. How are we building it? We want to hear from folks. We don't want to make the decisions because this is not our food sovereignty. This is the people's food sovereignty. Okay?
Yes.
And if the Consul King from Guyana has joined, much respect. He's all over the world with that corn soup. He's in Florida. He's in New York, but he's from Toronto. He's the corn soup.
Okay. Shout out. Shout out. Big up yourself.
You know, Turner Travers just joined. Big
Yes.
respect. You know, every time. And I can
Okay.
my folks. I don't know if we're coming out, but I just want to make sure I can shout out Natty Conquering Divine.
Yeah.
Arms again. You know. Yes, 22 Travenue,
Yes. Arts
Art, all these beautiful people. We want to make sure that you go to Black Food Sovereignty Toronto.ca and register. Let's have this conversation because when we talk about Black Food Sovereignty,
Yes.
every person of African descent is involved in Black Food Sovereignty. As long as you eat food, you
Yes.
are part of this movement. And
Yes.
if you value your food, like as a 7 years, I was in Quebec, Usain Bolt. You know why he's so fast? Because he eat Jamaica yam, he Jamaica callaloo. And so we got these cultural values in food that that's why, wow, somebody from Revolutionary Carol, Reggae, Sao Paulo, much respect, obrigado. You know,
Yes.
wow. Ruth Hub, you're doing it, man. You're doing it all over the world. Give thanks that we all come out and have this conversation. It's very important that we determine
Yes.
and define for Black food sovereignty. And I'd like to say it once more before I leave. What is sovereignty? Food sovereignty of people to healthy and culturally appropriate food produced through ecologically sound and sustainable methods. What I mean by ecologically sound and sustainable methods, the easiest word to tell people who are familiar is to grow it organically, grow it naturally.
Yes.
And most importantly in food sovereignty is our right to define our own food and agricultural system. Okay? Give us the opportunity, because you know what? A lot of people get resources to support the work we're doing. We give thanks, but you know what? We need the resources for do for self. Marcus Garvey said, do
We're
for
fast.
self. Okay?
Yes.
We have to do for ourselves. We don't want
Yes.
to be beggars. You know what I mean? We're not about getting, we want to produce the food. Give our farmers the resources, and they're gonna create the environment for us to be food secure. Okay?
That's right.
Give
That's
our
right.
the resources, and they're gonna be able to cook
And
for us.
culturally sensitive ones food as well, right? As
That's right.
this is key as well. I want to before we go, I want to actually just open up the floor to our listeners or viewers that are on Instagram, Twitter. Shayna, just touching base with you. Do you got any questions from Twitter on your end there? And yeah, if you guys have any questions to ask Anand Laloli, you can put it in the right-hand corner where there's the question mark, and we'll be able to respond to you within the next 6 minutes. But again, you can check out Black Food Sovereignty, Toronto, and that is key. So let's just check to see if we have any questions. Shane, any questions from Twitter? I don't know if she's there. Okay, here's a question. Why isn't there more funding for Black Farmers Initiative? That was from Twitter.
Why is there no more funding? Because you know why? Because the Black farmers are not making representation. Nothing is given to you. Like my good brother from Guyana, Walter Roddy said, the freedom is not given. Freedom is taken. We have to centralize and organize. This is why we have in the Black Food Sovereignty Alliance, because we had no one
Yes.
on our behalf. We have to speak of what we need. People are not going to give it to you. The reason why white farmers get what they need, because they will have representation. They have different institutions. There are many, many farming organizations, but they don't cater for
I,
people
I
back then.
I do have a question though too, but like what about working together as well as a community and identity? Because I know that we touched a little bit on the alliances, but like finding out who are the human resources within our community and you know what can be their contribution, whether it be in their skill, whether it be um in their actual resource, because I think truthfully the answer is amongst us as well. So I think that's something to like the discussion amongst us. We need to find out who is who's you know.
We,
I think that's critical because I know we've talked about the government. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
What could they do, and you know, hearing our voice. And I even like the fact that you said, you know, address. When you said address, I was like, Lord God, address. Are we gonna have another conversation? Conversation? No. But when you said about the address, it was actually people who are actively doing projects that you were listing, and I was like, oh, so it's addressing it is act like this is true activism,
Yeah.
right? Is getting out there and actively being a solution to food insecurity, and it's in it, and it is a systemic thing from, as you said, low income is the reason. Low income is the reason why we don't have this access, and then you have low income. Why? Because of many other
No, we have learned
issues.
we have learned them for many reasons, but
Yeah,
as
many reasons.
speaking to the question, we have to
Yeah.
centralize and organize, and don't hit organizing and speaking, because you know me, Sister Sharon, I'm a field marshal, but
Mm,
we need to meet because you know why Trudeau's in Ottawa, because he meeting with his cabinet to decide what to be done. So we have to have our own cabinet of leaders to really advocate on behalf of us. Okay, so that we know what we're doing. It's not just to get the resources. Like I meet farmers and ask me, and then you got money for farming. We gotta sit down together and advocate and decide how we're gonna do that. People gotta learn about we talking about sovereignty, we talking about government. We talking about governing ourselves. We gotta sit down, plan and execute, then we get the resources. You see what happened in the Black Food
yeah,
Summit? This planning come out of nowhere. This plan come out of us sitting down and organizing ourselves. This it says here,
respect.
identify, establish, sustain, support, and funding for Blackland. Support funding. When we sit down and tell the municipal government what we need, then they know what we need. Not Annan telling them what we need. Not Sharon. It's collectively. So to the question the person asks, we have to sit down and plan, and then we can execute. Because as the Almighty say, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. You
This
have to
is it.
you know, we have to look. I'm just going from a conference, and they're organizing. This is the community in Quebec, territorial food systems. Okay,
Mhm.
it's a new one for me, but I get to understand what it is. What it is in this province, they're organizing themselves to be autonomous and self-sufficient. And in our community, we have to do that too. Okay, so it's very important that we sit down and we have the conversations. You have the
Absolutely.
farm.
No, I agree with the conversations, but I definitely want us to look within amongst ourselves to see if there's actual elite human resources or people that can actually make it happen. Because sometimes we have this criteria. I mean, we have to demand the criteria that we need if we are going to access funding. But for sometimes the criteria is so difficult to even reach. However. So can we look within ourselves? I just want to encourage that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Apart from just knocking on the door of the government, but we must be able to access the world. This world is ours. You know what I'm saying? We're the First Nation,
yeah.
right?
The
So it is what it is, right? So we shouldn't like not be accessing, food. It's sad to know that, the numbers of food insecurity is real, whether it be wisdom or whether it be access.
I like to say something blunt. This is very much on our shoulder.
Yes,
We have to be more proactive in doing the
yes,
work and intentional and
yes,
contributing, because people don't like when I say this, but this is a struggle. This is a Black liberation struggle. Anti-Black racism is real. People keeping things. We have a history of that. So to combat that, we need to organize. Okay, we're not in heaven. This is not.
anti-black racism is affecting our bottom dollar. It's
Look,
affecting our income. This is real.
we have a lot of people in our community with lots of knowledge. We have academics. So the food system is not just farmers and chefs. It's a
Hmm.
vast array of skills, that within our community and occupations. We have
Okay.
scientists. We have a lot of people, but this is just the beginning.
Yes.
This is just the beginning, and we're moving towards being more food sovereign. Okay, as in Jamaica they say, one cocoa full basket. We at the
Yes.
beginning. It's
Yeah.
important we come out and our voice be heard of how
Yeah.
we organize ourselves. Roots
Yes.
again. I gotta give a big shout out to the folks from Brazil. I love to see Sao Paulo, Brazil, much
Yes.
respect. And all the Toronto folks. I want to see those farmers come and let your voice be heard. This thing doesn't
Yeah.
have like magic. You gotta come up and speak and say what you need, how we should set up this alliance, how we should set up membership, And we want people to know this is an institution of people of African descent. We're not being discriminative. We just want to make sure we have our own solutions. People could come to the conversation, but the decision making has to be led by people of African descent. We want all allyships.
Yeah.
You
Well,
come from
absolutely.
China, where you come from India, where you come from Europe, all are welcome. But the leadership and the decision making is Black people, the people of African descent. Thank you so much, Sister
We are taking
Sharon.
responsibility. We are taking responsibility for our community. What can we do? Who else to do it but us? For
That's
ourselves. Do for self. You know, Anand Lololi, it's been a pleasure. Before we go, just one more last time, can you just tell our listeners what's going on Saturday, November 19th?
okay. On November 19th is our second community conversation. We had the first one on the 20th of October. This particular one is on Saturday, November the 19th, 2022 from 12 to 4 p.m. And the focus on building a Black Food Sovereignty Alliance. We want to make sure we come out and together we plan for the success of Black families, farmers, chefs, and more. This is about the dialogue, about they giving us a sense of what we need to do. Now we have speakers like Dr. Jasmine Ratcliffe, dynamic sister from New Orleans. She's the co-executive director of National Black Food and Justice Alliance. We have the Emmanuel Mellis, the executive director of the Network for the Advancement of Black Communities, and my brother Kweku Ado Bafour, the communications director at Food Sovereignty Ghana. The day will also feature a special presentation from Sakaya Tafari, the executive director of the African Food Basket, and Nicole Austin, the Black Student Engagement Coordinator at Harvest Collective and Learning Circle at Toronto Metropolitan Urban University Farm. We will also be honoring Paul Taylor, the Executive Director of Food Share Toronto. And I like to say this, the first Black Executive Director of one of the largest food security organizations in Canada, Food Share. We also be having libations by Janelle Skerritt, a phenomenal human with a deep understanding of what it means to be an inclusive leader, especially for those who are most marginalized. She is also part owner of the Adinkra Farm. Also, the event will be hosted by the hostess, Aita Sadhu, the dynamic
Yes.
author and community and owner of a different bookstore, and Toronto-based poet, songwriter, and recorder. I would just like to give a shout out to Celeste Series, the dynamic food systems coordinator of this program, along with myself, Aya, also Nicole, Shalimar Elliott, Chef Bashir, and the comrade and the revolutionary Winston Husbands. I'm leaving out some folks, people like Ashanti, but we have a dynamic team, and also the board of directors of the African Food Basket. And I said, so the executive director and the many staff like Tafari and all the other folks at the African Food Basket. We give thanks for the continued support. And I must say, I have to go back and say this. Building on its leadership in advocating for Black Food Sovereignty Plan, Black Food Sovereignty Toronto is joined by the City of Toronto Confronting Anti-Black Racism Unit to host this online conversation. Folks of the Anti-Black Racism Unit at the city, we salute them and give thanks for their continued support, the work they're doing to make sure we realize Black Food Sovereignty Plan and reach our Black community to us to be able to be food sovereign. Thank you so much. Roots Reggae, big on your heart, usual. Over 14,000 people listening as we just give thanks to be here. And we hope that you could come around You could even stream us live on the day, whatever you do. We honor you and we give thanks. People, tune in to Roots Reggae
We give
Hub.
thanks to you.
Much respect every time.
Respect. It's Lady Sharon signing out with Anan Lololi. One love.
Give thanks.